Well, hello too. Today we're starting a new short story series. My eyes are watering. My apologies. And maybe I should have put the dust jacket back on for this, but these look great with or without the dust jacket. So we have Thomas Mann, the collected stories. This is the Every Man's Library, and I paid up for this. I bought this brand spanking new because I just don't go anywhere anymore. And so I ordered it off of the Amazons. Um, so there's a YouTuber, a booktuber that always asking for people to email them and for book recommendations, and I did. I believe he goes by Super Hottie 28 or something. I don't remember. But I messaged him and said, "Hey, I'm dedicating German Lit for the year 2022. I got the early 19th century pretty well, under control. Mentioned, I was a fan of Hess and Kafka, and I plan on dipping my toes into Thomas Mann and Colte and a bunch of others. And I was looking for some suggestions on some late 20th century slash 21st century German authors because I really just don't know any. He replied back, called me all sorts of names since I have not yet read any Thomas Mann. Thought fair enough. So I bought this, and he mentioned too. You don't even have to read them all. Just Death in Venice and the Magic Mountain. And since I don't take instructions very well, I got the collected short stories. I figure I'll read them all, and mostly because Thomas Mann intimidates me like no other. And I'd read this and probably a shorter novel, maybe Buddenbrook or something. And then maybe I'll tackle the mountain because the mountain's like 800 pages. It's a big book. It could be a mammoth for March of the Mammoths. So I want to get I don't want to just jump into I don't want to read Death in Venice and jump into an 800-page book essentially. So I even though Super Hottie 28 told me not to uh that I didn't have to read his entire repertoire. I want to read a good chunk of it. And then he also has an even bigger series, the Joseph and his brothers or whatever. It's like a 4-book series, which I don't know if I'll read that or not. I'll probably read it eventually, but I don't know if I'll read that this year or not, or if I'll just read like this, maybe a smaller novel, and then tackle the Magic Mountain. Um, but yeah, so I'll plan on going story by story in this book, and there's a lot of stories in here. So I mean, it's not like 100 stories, but there's quite a few. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So there's 26. So instead of spending a half a year doing like one book a week, I'll probably start off with like maybe one story every Tuesday, and then probably will double up or triple up in the weeks to come once I kind of get past J.D. Salinger's 9 stories and I get finish the Borges short stories, and then we'll play it by ear, but probably at least for the remaining Tuesdays in February and until those stories would only be 1 week. But so our first story in this was Little Herr Friedemann. Friedemann. I'm not very good with my German. And it was originally published. Wikipedia it. It was originally published in 1896, and it was like some German publication or German short story collection or something. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. But this is a story of a young man who was dropped at childbirth, who ended up having, who ended up becoming physically deformed because of it. And he knew he wasn't the prettiest boy ever. He, at an early age, he fell in love with this girl, and she really wasn't interested. So he swore off love forever. Decided he was going to dedicate his life to the arts, music and literature, and things like that. When a lady and her husband moved into town, and he fell for this lady, even though she wasn't like the prettiest lady ever. He still fell for her for whatever reason, and he gets up the courage to tell this lady how he feels, and she laughs at him. And I can't really describe anything else without destroying the ending for you. And I'm sure, well, maybe this is super popular, but I've never heard this one before. So I think you should go out and read it, because you probably haven't yet, because the ending is very, very good. As far as first stories goes, I'll tell you what, like, it was like 25 pages. It was a really short story. And like the first 20 pages, I was reading it like, are we 0.10 of it? Like, are we gonna get anywhere with this? And the ending made it worth it. So we're off to a good start with Thomas Mann with Little Herr Friedemann. Do you want to know what happens? Do you want a spoiler alert? Spoiler alert. Okay, well, I'll read the last little bit to you so you find out what happens, and you'll be disappointed that you stuck around and listened to this instead of just going out and reading it, because I mean, it was 1896, so it's on Gutenberg somewhere, I'm sure. Here, I'll read the last 3 paragraphs. He lay there with his face in the grass, stunned, unmanned, shudders coursing swiftly through his frame. He pulled himself together, got up somehow, took 2 steps, and fell again, close to the water. What were his sensations at this moment? Perhaps he was feeling that same luxury of hate which he had felt before when she had humiliated him with her glance. Degenerated now, when he lay before her on the ground, and she had treated him like a dog, into an insane rage which must at all costs find exception even against himself, a disgust, perhaps, of himself, which filled him with a thirst to destroy himself, to tear himself to pieces, to blot himself utterly out. On his belly he dragged his body a little further, lifted its upper part, and let it fall into the water. He did not raise his head, nor move his legs, which still lay on the bank. The crickets stopped chirping a moment at this noise of the little splash. Then they went on as before. The boughs lightly rustled. and down the long alley came the faint sound of laughter. Wow, that is pretty crazy. That's some mighty fine writing, if you ask me, because I know these things. So that's it for this one, peeps. The next story is Delusionment. Um, I don't know how many Tuesdays are left in the month. This is the last one, or I mean, we'll do it every Tuesday up until, like I said, the end of 9 stories and Borges, and then we might double, maybe even triple up until this book is done. So that way we're not dragging it out for half a year, like I said. So that's it for this one, peeps. Have you read the story? What'd you think of it? If you haven't read it and you're still watching this, you must have went through with a spoiler. What did you think about the ending, even though I was really bad at explaining what the story was about? That's it for this one, peeps. Cheers. Oh, yeah. I missed the stop button.